Welcome back to another message recap, the show where we recap the messages that we do here on the weekends. This week you closed out a mini series, Move the Mission. It was
pretty lame. We probably
mediocre at best.
We don't need to talk about it. It's not important.
Man, if you weren't here in person, number one, I feel bad for you because I don't say that rudely.
But there's some truth to it.
There was an energy here, especially during first service. That was just, I almost like for the first time in my life yelled out.
Oh. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yep.
I did. A little like Steven Furtick.
I was like, oh man, this is like, there's an energy here. It was cool.
Yeah.
But this whole Move the Mission is just like a super quick recap. God spoke to you, said as a church we need to be debt-free in 10 years or less.
Yep.
The first week you kind of went over dreaming about what that would look like if we were debt-free.
Yep.
And then this week was just all the practical numbers of how easy it actually is going to be to get there.
Yep.
Again, we knocked that recap out of the park. Just
we're done.
So unbelievably fast.
There better be 100% view time.
Yeah, no kidding. But that's what it was. I mean, if you guys want to dive in a little more, go for it. I said my piece.
I was going to say, I didn't say everything I wanted to say, but I said pretty much everything I wanted to say yesterday too. So
yeah.
Can I make an observation?
For sure.
Dave speaks.
Right off the top,
Cut the video.
In 10 years, I've never seen you amped up like that. Never. Especially for a message. Like I've never seen, and it was visible on stage.
Yeah, I had to calm down a couple times.
I told you had to calm down before you went up there.
Yeah.
Breathe into a bag.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. I was pretty excited when I said like I've never been this excited for I've been coming here since 2001, seen a lot of awesome things, been a lot of building projects. I Sandy can't like a lot of cool things God has done. I can genuinely say like right now I feel like I'm the most excited I've ever been for what God's going to do.
Not only that, but typically it's given that if people know we're going to talk about money, you see rather less numbers here in person, and you let them know at the end of last week.
Yep.
We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk specifically about you giving money.
And more money, extra money.
And extra money on top of what you already give. And we had the highest attendance here
since before COVID.
Yep.
So it was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah, there's so much to comment on it, and I'm not going to redo the whole message, but just a couple of concepts, a couple of principles here that are amazing. And one, I hear all the time that in our culture, and maybe you feel that way too, that you want your life to make a difference. And I hear that all the time, that people just want to, and so many America's definitely a generous place in one sense, that we want to help out with relief for this or that. And there is no greater mission, there's no greater thing to be a part of than moving the mission of Jesus Christ forward. There's no doubt. And I think what makes this special is, most of what we do because we strategize and we plan. That's no different than the Apostle Paul did. He strategized. But once in a while, not every, and if you live your life waiting for God to tell you everything to do and micromanage your life, you're going to miss out on a lot of things. But from time to time, God speaks something very specific. And I think that's what makes this so exciting. That this was God saying, this is for right now what I want you to do, because God knows the future, God knows more than we do, says this is what this church needs to do. And I think it just resonates. First of all, I think your passion comes from the fact that, I heard God say this. It's not I made it up. I think it's wishful thinking. This would be a good idea.
This is probably only the second thing in my life where I feel like he gave me a specific vision. Like one was to go into ministry, number one, and this was the other one.
Yeah, and I think that we've tried campaigns in the past, and by just trying to manipulate a situation, by trying to be...
You say that in the best way.
No, we worked with some companies that forced us to manipulate. Like, that was gross.
And just never felt good. Here's the thing. It never felt right. It never felt like God's nod,
Yeah.
and the nod of God. But this time it does. And I think that's the impetus behind the excitement, all that stuff. But overall, I mean, that's why I think we as a church are going, and I think this is going to happen, and I think everybody else can see it. And it's great. But an overall arching principle is, imagine if every Christian realized the time in which we live and gave, and the Bible's kind of full of this principle of tithes and offerings. And I think if every Christian in America would do their tithing, which most don't, and then give over and above their tithe for the move of God, we would see Christianity in America move forward. But I'm glad that we can lead the charge in this area. I am so glad that we can, because here's the thing, not only is it going to move the mission forward, but for every single person that gets engaged and involved in this, they are also going to feel the blessing of God in their life. Now, maybe tangible, maybe not. But the fact that I am engaged in a great move of God and what I believe is this end times, which I'm not going to try to guess how long that is, but there is a huge satisfaction, there's a huge peace that comes from engaging in this thing, especially because God spoke, this is what this church needs to do. So I just said a whole lot of nothing, but a lot of everything if you ponder it.
That was one of the points I really tried to make, especially if people feel like they couldn't give $1,000. Like, listen, I mean, I know every American has more disposable income than we think we do. So that's for another time. But even if you don't give $1,000, to give something and to be involved at any level, it will be good for you. You know, don't not be involved.
And
I mean, it got the point across.
I think as you watch this, to just keep in mind that if we do this extra once a year, this really it's not extra all the time, but if we plan for every spring for the next several years, to plan even in your own budgeting at home or your tax returns, say, hey, we're going to commit once a year to give extra to this move of God. It doesn't have to be all at once, but it can be.
I did have somebody actually ask me on Sunday, and I thought this would be a good place to talk about it. But they asked, hey, do you, we're looking to raise the first lump by the end of April. What do you want us to do from then on? And I thought, that's a pretty good question. My assumption was what you just said. Hey, and we will do this every February, March. We're going to talk about this, probably take 2 weeks and do something similar along with updates and just relay out the vision of where we're going and why we're doing this. But she brought up a point, if you're not very good at savings, or if you start to see it and you're tempted to spend it, you certainly could give all year long, as long as it's just designated. So not online. We'd prefer not online for that one. But again, I thought it was a good, practical question.
It's a good
yes, you
follow-up
can
question.
give any time. Just make sure it's marked move the mission.
Yeah, because you had brought up, it's $20 a week.
Yeah.
Should we just dump $20 a week in?
Give $20 a week to move the mission. And
Make sure it's marked.
Make sure it's marked. But yeah, we will talk about it every February or March till we're done.
And I think, too, we all need to know that no individuals are going to be looking at you, how much did you give or how much didn't you? We're going to look at the whole number. However, what a great opportunity for every single one of us to make this a personal dedication between us and God. Father, I am giving this to you. It's for this purpose of the church, but it's not for other people to know or measure myself to somebody else. But Father, this is me serving you and worshiping you and acknowledging you. This is a spiritual growth opportunity for every one of us between our own personal heart and God, between us and God, and we're doing this together. But I love that idea that it's a personal, private thing as well as a corporate thing.
It's very cool.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
I don't know much else to say about it other than it was pretty cool to be here.
1, 10, 100,000, 10,000, 100,000, million. If you didn't watch the message, you'll see that.
Yeah, if you don't know what he just rambled off, make sure to watch the message. Are we good? We're all on board. We're all excited.
Amen.
I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in your words.
I'm waiting for Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. In your words, though, one of my favorite lines was, "How could you not want to be a part of this?" Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, with everything laid out the way it was laid out, and if you haven't watched the message, just watch it. Mm-hmm. How could you not want to be a part of it? It's just so attainable, and it is really practical. With
everybody participating, it's a done deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it literally is.
It's not like a pipe dream.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Okay.
There you go.
Watch that message when it pops up. Move the mission part 2. Get inspired. Get jacked up. Is that a good? Let's go. Debt free. All right.
That was the only piece we were missing.
Yeah. That's what I was going to yell out. Yeah. All right. But anyway, we'll be back next week. We're starting a brand new series. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. See you next week.